Welcome to Psycho Rift. Please consider subscribing. It's free. Thank you. Story 1. The stranger at the door unveiled the truth. I'm 34, and my husband is 32. We've been married for 6 years, and for most of that time, I thought we had a pretty typical relationship. We both worked demanding jobs, spent time with our families on weekends, and carved out time for each other in between. It wasn't perfect, but it felt stable, dependable. That all changed on a random Tuesday evening when a knock at the door set everything in motion. It was around 8 p.m., and I was home alone while my husband was supposed to be working late at the office. When I heard the knock, I assumed it was a neighbor, maybe dropping off some misdelivered mail. But when I opened the door, I found a woman standing there, her face pale and filled with an unsettling determination. "Is Michael here?" she asked, her voice calm but strained. My heart skipped a beat. Michael, my husband, wasn't supposed to know anyone in this neighborhood besides me. Trying to keep my composure, I told her he wasn't home and asked how she knew him. She sighed, and with a pained look, she said, "I'm sorry to do this, but I'm his girlfriend." I froze. Girlfriend? How could that be possible? We were married happily, or so I thought. The woman must have seen the confusion and shock on my face, because she quickly pulled out her phone and showed me a photo of them together. My husband, smiling, with his arm around her at some restaurant I didn't recognize. The ground beneath me seemed to give way. I invited her inside, trying to gather my thoughts, trying to understand what was happening. We sat down, and over the next half hour, she spilled everything. They had been together for almost a year. She had no idea he was married. He had told her he was single, that he lived alone, and that he had a busy career, which is why he often couldn't spend nights with her. She had started to grow suspicious recently when he became more distant, more secretive. That's when she began doing some digging and discovered me, his wife of 6 years. She was devastated, angry, and confused, just like I was. In that moment, we were both victims of his deceit. When my husband came home later that night, he found the two of us sitting on the couch, waiting for him. The look on his face when he walked through the door told me everything. He knew he had been caught. There were no excuses, no explanations that could make this better. I felt like my entire life had been turned upside down in the span of a few hours. Now I'm left trying to piece together what to do next. My husband, the man I trusted, had been living a double life, deceiving not just me, but someone else too. Part of me wants to confront him, demand answers, while another part of me wonders if there's anything left to save. How do you move forward after something like this? How do you rebuild a life when it feels like everything was a lie? Story 2. A Facebook message exposed her secret. I'm 36, and my wife is 33. We've been together for 10 years, married for 6. Ours was always the relationship that friends looked up to, stable, dependable, filled with mutual respect. Or at least, that's what I thought. I had no idea that the life we had built together was hiding a dark secret. It was a typical afternoon, and I was scrolling through Facebook when a message notification popped up from someone I didn't recognize. His name was Ryan, a guy I had never seen before, and the message was only a few lines long, but those few lines shattered my world. It read, "Hey man, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but your wife's been seeing someone else. I don't want to get involved, but you deserve to know." Attached to the message were screenshots, texts between my wife and some guy. Flirty, intimate, affectionate texts. At first, I couldn't believe it. There had to be some mistake. I thought maybe it was a prank, someone trying to mess with me. But as I kept reading, I saw dates and times that lined up with the nights when my wife had told me she was working late or out with friends. The pit in my stomach grew as reality set in. This was real, and I had no idea how long it had been going on. When she got home that evening, I didn't confront her right away. I sat there trying to gather my thoughts, trying to figure out how to handle this without completely losing it. I asked her casually about her day, about her work, about her plans for the rest of the week. She acted normal, like nothing was wrong, like we were still the perfect couple. That's when I knew. She had been lying to my face this whole time, and she didn't even flinch. When I finally pulled out my phone and showed her the messages, her face went pale. She didn't try to deny it. She didn't try to make excuses. She just broke down and started crying, admitting everything. She had been seeing someone else for nearly a year. It started as harmless flirting, something that made her feel alive again, she said. But it quickly escalated into something much more. And before she knew it, she was sneaking around, lying to me, and betraying everything we had built together. She begged me to forgive her, told me it was a mistake, that she still loved me, and that she wanted to make things right. But how could I? How could I trust her after everything? The woman I thought I knew, the woman I had built a life with, had been hiding this secret from me for almost a year. How do you come back from that? I don't know if I can. I don't know if I even want to try. Now, I'm left questioning everything. Our marriage, our future, and whether we can ever get back to what we once were. Part of me wants to forgive her, to try and rebuild what we've lost. But another part of me wonders if it's even worth it. Can you truly forgive someone who's betrayed you in such a profound way? Can you ever really trust them again? I guess only time will tell. Story 3. A simple calendar event shattered my world. I'm 29, and my fiance is 28. We've been together for 4 years, and we've been engaged for the last year. Everything was going great. We were in the middle of planning our wedding, talking about venues, discussing our future, and it felt like we were on the same page. But all of that changed with a single calendar notification. It was a regular weeknight, and I was going through our shared digital calendar, trying to schedule a time for us to meet with our wedding planner. As I scrolled through, I noticed an event that stopped me in my tracks. It was scheduled for the following week, and the title read, "Meeting with her ex's name." My heart dropped. At first, I thought it had to be some kind of mistake. Maybe it was an old calendar event she forgot to delete, or maybe it was for something completely innocent. But the more I thought about it, the more it didn't make sense. Why would she be meeting with her ex? And why hadn't she mentioned it to me? I confronted her that night, trying to stay calm, trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. I asked her about the event, hoping she would have a reasonable explanation. But as soon as I mentioned it, I saw the look on her face. Her expression gave everything away before she even opened her mouth. She stammered, trying to come up with an excuse, but I wasn't buying it. Finally, she broke down and admitted that she had been seeing her ex behind my back for the past few months. They had run into each other at a mutual friend's party, and things had escalated from there. She claimed it wasn't serious, that she was just confused and didn't know how to handle the situation. Confused? How could she be confused when we were in the middle of planning our wedding? We were supposed to be building a life together, and here she was sneaking around with someone from her past. The betrayal cut deep. It wasn't just about the affair. It was about the lies, the deception, the fact that she had been pretending like everything was fine while secretly meeting with someone else. Now, I don't know what to do. The wedding is on hold, and I'm left questioning everything about our relationship. How can I marry someone who has been lying to me? How can I trust that she won't do this again? She says she wants to make things right, that she's willing to cut ties with her ex and focus on us. But how do I know she means it? How do I know that this isn't just the beginning of more lies, more betrayal? I'm torn between wanting to salvage our relationship and feeling like I deserve better. We've been together for 4 years, and I thought I knew her. But now, I'm not so sure. Can you ever really know someone who's capable of this kind of deceit? Or am I just fooling myself, hoping for a future that's already been destroyed? Story 4. An unexpected email unraveled my marriage. I'm 42, and my wife is 39. We've been married for 15 years, and during that time, I always believed we had a strong relationship. We had our ups and downs like any couple, but we were partners in every sense of the word. We built a life together, raised our kids, and made plans for the future. But all of that came crashing down with a single email. It was a Tuesday afternoon, and I was at work going through my inbox as usual. That's when I saw the email. The subject line read, "You need to know the truth," and it was from someone I didn't recognize. I hesitated before opening it, my heart already starting to race. When I finally clicked on it, my worst fears were confirmed. Attached to the email were several photos. Photos of my wife with another man. They weren't graphic, but they were intimate. They were at a restaurant together, holding hands while walking down the street, laughing and looking like a couple. The timestamps on the photos were from just a few days ago. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. At first, I thought it had to be a mistake. Maybe it was someone playing a cruel joke, or maybe the photos were old. But the more I looked, the more I realized that this was real. My wife was having an affair, and she had been lying to me for who knows how long. When I confronted her that night, I didn't sugarcoat it. I showed her the email, the photos, and waited for her to explain. She didn't try to deny it. Instead, she broke down and admitted that she had been seeing someone else for months. She said she didn't know how it happened, that she never meant for it to go this far, but that she couldn't stop herself. Her words felt like a knife to the heart. We had been married for 15 years. How could she do this to me? To us? I asked her why, and all she could say was that she felt unfulfilled, that she had been unhappy for a long time, but didn't know how to tell me. So instead of talking to me, she went behind my back and started an affair. Now, I'm left trying to figure out where we go from here. Part of me wants to work through this to try and save our marriage for the sake of our kids and the life we've built together. But another part of me is filled with so much anger, so much pain, that I don't know if I can ever forgive her. How do you rebuild trust after something like this? How do you move forward when the person you love has betrayed you in the worst possible way? I don't know what the future holds for us. All I know is that the life I thought I had is gone, and I'm left picking up the pieces of a marriage that may never be whole again.